Hi, I'm Sophie. I'm 22 years old and finishing my final year at a prestigious university in New York City. I'm 5 feet 6 inches, with fiery red hair that flows down my back and a sharp, angular face that seems to make people turn their heads. Most days, I'm dressed in tailored blazers and pencil skirts, giving off an aura of authority that doesn't quite match the fact that I'm still a student. On campus, I'm known for my quick wit and relentless ambition. My life is a delicate balance of high-stakes internships, late-night study sessions, and navigating the competitive world of political science. Socially, I'm somewhat of an enigma. People are drawn to me, yet I keep most at arm's length, reserving my energy for debates and ideas rather than casual conversation. What many don't know is that beneath the surface, I yearn for a deeper connection, something that transcends the cerebral. Enter Dr. Alexander Reed. He's one of the youngest professors in the department, just past 40, with dark brown hair streaked with silver at the temples. His piercing blue eyes seem to see straight through people, cutting through their words to the truth underneath. Dr. Reed's lectures are legendary, and his ability to weave historical context into modern political theory leaves the entire class spellbound. But it's not just his intellect that captivates me. There's a quiet charisma about him, an intensity that makes him stand out in a sea of academics. One evening, after a particularly heated seminar on ethical governance, I lingered behind as the other students shuffled out. I had questions, not just about the lecture, but about the way he seemed to speak to something deeper inside me. Dr. Reed, I began, my voice steady despite the rapid beating of my heart. I wanted to discuss the argument you made about moral absolutism. He looked up from his desk, his expression softening. Of course, Sophie. What's on your mind? Our conversation flowed effortlessly, moving from philosophy to politics, and eventually to our personal philosophies on life itself. I found myself drawn to his perspective, his ability to challenge my assumptions while respecting my intellect. As the campus grew quieter, he finally said, "You have a brilliant mind, Sophie. If you're interested, I'd be happy to mentor you further. Your insights deserve a platform." And so began our regular meetings. Officially, they were about refining my thesis, but they quickly became so much more. In his office, surrounded by books and artifacts from his travels, we discussed ideas that made my mind come alive. Yet, there was an undercurrent of something unsaid, a tension neither of us acknowledged, but both felt. One evening, as the city's lights twinkled outside his window, our conversation took a more personal turn. I confided in him about the pressure I felt, about how I often hid my vulnerabilities behind a mask of perfection. He listened intently, his gaze warm and reassuring. "Sophie," he said, his voice low, "you don't have to carry the weight of the world alone." In that moment, something shifted. The line between professor and student blurred, replaced by a connection that felt raw and real. When his hand brushed mine as he handed me a book, the contact sent a jolt through me. I saw a flicker of hesitation in his eyes, followed by resolve. "We need to be careful," he murmured, and I nodded, understanding the gravity of what was unfolding. Our relationship deepened in quiet, stolen moments. Late-night emails became more personal. Our shared glances in class lingered longer, and our meetings extended beyond academic topics. One night, after an intense discussion about power dynamics in society, he walked me to the library. As we stood beneath the glow of a street lamp, he hesitated before softly saying, "I find it hard to keep my distance from you." Without thinking, I stepped closer, the world around us fading into the background. "I feel the same," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. The kiss that followed was tentative, yet it carried the weight of unspoken desires. It was a moment of surrender, a breaking of barriers we had both carefully maintained. From that night, everything changed. Our connection became a source of both exhilaration and trepidation. We were cautious, meeting in his apartment rather than on campus, where we could talk freely and explore the depth of our bond. These moments were not just passionate, but profoundly intimate, filled with conversations about our dreams and fears. But secrecy came with its own challenges. There were close calls, a colleague who noticed how often I lingered after class, a student who saw us leaving the same cafe. The constant need for discretion weighed on us, yet we both knew the risks were worth it. What we had was rare, a meeting of minds and souls that defied conventional boundaries. As the semester progressed, my work flourished. Dr. Reed's guidance pushed me to new heights, and my thesis became a project I was deeply proud of. Yet, it wasn't just my academic life that thrived. For the first time, I felt truly seen, understood in a way that went beyond words. One weekend, we escaped the city for a secluded cabin upstate. Surrounded by nature, we spent our days hiking and our nights by the fireplace, talking about everything from literature to life's uncertainties. It was there, under a canopy of stars, that I realized I was falling in love. "Alexander," I said, breaking the silence, "I don't want to imagine a life without this, without us." He took my hand, his expression serious yet tender. "Neither do I," he said. "But we have to decide how to move forward. This can't stay hidden forever." Returning to campus, the reality of our situation hit harder. We knew we had to take steps to protect ourselves while being true to what we shared. After much discussion, Alexander approached the department head, explaining our relationship with transparency and professionalism. The news was met with a mix of reactions, but our honesty earned respect. With the secrecy lifted, we faced new challenges. Some colleagues were supportive, others skeptical, but we stood firm, knowing that what we had was built on mutual respect and genuine connection. As I prepared for graduation, our relationship became a symbol of growth, both personal and academic. On the day of my commencement, Alexander stood in the crowd, his presence a quiet reminder of the journey we had taken together. Later, as we celebrated in a small gathering of close friends, he handed me a first edition of a book we had discussed during our earliest meetings. Inside, he had written, "To Sophie, my brightest star. Here's to our next chapter." And so, as I stepped into the next phase of my life, I did so not just as Sophie, the ambitious graduate, but as someone who had found love and partnership in the most unexpected of places. Our story was unconventional, but it was ours, a testament to the power of connection that transcends boundaries and defies expectations. As summer drew near, Olivia and Professor Grant decided to make the most of their limited time together. Their secret moments became more intense, but so did the weight of their secrecy. Olivia found herself torn between her burgeoning feelings and the fear of discovery. One day, Grant suggested they attend an art gallery opening together, separately, of course, to avoid suspicion. The gallery featured works inspired by the concept of hidden love, and the symbolism was not lost on either of them. They stole glances across the room, their unspoken connection speaking louder than words. Back on campus, a faculty member began noticing Olivia's frequent presence near Grant's office. To divert attention, Olivia started spending more time in the student art studio, pouring her emotions into her paintings. Her latest piece, an abstract depiction of a hidden embrace, garnered admiration from her peers and even a nod of approval from her professor in class. One evening, as they met in Grant's office to discuss her artwork, a storm outside matched the tumult of their emotions. The atmosphere crackled with tension, and Grant finally admitted that keeping their relationship a secret was becoming unbearable. Olivia felt the same, but reminded him of the potential fallout. They resolved to hold on to their secret a little longer, hoping time would provide clarity. Meanwhile, Olivia's art began to attract attention beyond campus. A gallery owner reached out, offering her a spot in an upcoming showcase. The opportunity thrilled her, but it also meant more scrutiny. She debated whether to include the hidden embrace painting, knowing its deeper meaning. During the showcase, Grant attended anonymously, blending into the crowd. When he saw Olivia's painting displayed prominently, his pride was evident. After the event, he sent her a message. "Your art is as fearless as your heart." That night, Olivia realized that their love, though challenging, had profoundly influenced her work. As summer break loomed, Grant proposed they take a short trip together to escape the confines of the city. They chose a quaint coastal town where they could be themselves, if only for a few days. Walking along the shore, they spoke about their dreams, their fears, and their shared passion for art and life. On their last evening by the sea, they sat watching the sunset. Olivia felt a surge of courage and told Grant that their love had become her greatest muse. Moved, Grant promised her that no matter what the future held, he would always support her, both as a mentor and as a partner. Returning to campus, they knew their relationship would face new challenges, but they were determined to face them together. Their bond, like Olivia's art, was a masterpiece in progress, imperfect yet undeniably beautiful. As the fall semester began, Olivia and Grant found themselves navigating a more complex dynamic. Olivia's art, now gaining recognition, brought her into the spotlight, while Grant's academic responsibilities kept him tied to the university. Their time together became even more precious, and they cherished every stolen moment. One day, Olivia received an invitation to participate in an international art competition. The opportunity was life-changing, but it also meant spending weeks away from campus. Torn, she turned to Grant for advice. He encouraged her to pursue her dreams, assuring her that their bond would remain strong despite the distance. During her time abroad, Olivia found inspiration in the vibrant cultures and landscapes she encountered. She stayed in touch with Grant through late-night calls and shared photos of her progress. The separation tested their relationship, but it also deepened their connection as they learned to support each other from afar. When Olivia returned, she brought back not only new experiences, but also a prestigious award for her artwork. The recognition bolstered her confidence, and she felt ready to take on new challenges. Grant, ever her advocate, celebrated her success and reminded her that her talent had no bounds. Their relationship took a new turn when Olivia was offered a residency at a renowned art institute. While the opportunity was thrilling, it also meant making a difficult decision about their future. Grant, knowing how much the residency meant to Olivia, encouraged her to accept, even though it would create more distance between them. During her residency, Olivia continued to grow as an artist, but she also faced moments of doubt and loneliness. Grant's unwavering support through their regular calls and messages became her anchor. She poured her feelings into her work, creating a series of pieces that reflected their love and the challenges they faced. One of Olivia's most acclaimed works from the residency was a large-scale painting titled Uncharted Waters, depicting two figures navigating a turbulent sea. Critics praised its emotional depth and vulnerability, but only Olivia and Grant knew the personal story behind it. When the residency ended, Olivia returned to campus for a joint exhibition showcasing her work alongside other artists. Grant attended, proud as ever, and the two shared a quiet moment amidst the bustling crowd. "You've created something extraordinary," he whispered, and Olivia knew he wasn't just talking about her art. As their lives continued to evolve, Olivia and Grant began discussing their future more openly. They knew their journey would be filled with uncertainties, but they also knew that their love had weathered every storm so far. They resolved to face whatever came next together, their bond unshaken and their dreams intertwined. The next phase of their journey started when Olivia was invited to a prestigious art symposium in Paris. It was an opportunity to present her work and network with influential artists and curators. Grant encouraged her to go, promising to visit her if his academic schedule allowed. In Paris, Olivia was captivated by the vibrant art scene. The city itself became her muse, inspiring a new series of paintings that combined abstract forms with vivid colors. She spent her days attending workshops and exhibitions, her evenings exploring the city's streets. Yet she longed for Grant's presence. One weekend, Grant surprised her by flying to Paris. Their reunion was joyous and bittersweet, as they knew their time together was limited. They wandered through art galleries hand in hand, their love no longer hidden, but embraced in a foreign city where no one knew them. It was a fleeting taste of the life they yearned to build together. Back at the symposium, Olivia gave a powerful presentation on the emotional connection between art and personal experiences. She spoke about vulnerability, growth, and the courage to embrace one's truth. Though she didn't explicitly mention Grant, her words resonated with him deeply. Upon her return, Olivia was greeted with an offer to host her first solo exhibition in New York City. It was a dream come true, but came with its own set of challenges. The preparations required long hours and frequent travel, which tested her and Grant's ability to balance their personal and professional lives. Grant, too, faced new challenges. He was offered the role of department chair, a prestigious but demanding position. While it meant more responsibilities, it also came with the ability to shape the university's future. He shared his hesitations with Olivia, who encouraged him to embrace the opportunity. Their lives grew busier, but they remained each other's steadfast support. They established a routine of weekly video calls and planned occasional getaways to reconnect. During one of these trips, Grant proposed a daring idea: to co-author a book exploring the intersection of art and philosophy, merging their expertise. The project became their shared labor of love. They spent countless nights brainstorming ideas, exchanging drafts, and challenging each other intellectually. The process deepened their bond, as they discovered new facets of each other's minds and hearts. As the years passed, their relationship evolved into a partnership that balanced independence with unity. Olivia's art gained international acclaim, while Grant's leadership transformed the university into a hub for innovation. Their book, Brushstrokes and Reflections, became a bestseller, celebrated for its unique perspective. In the end, their journey was not defined by the obstacles they faced, but by the love and resilience they shared. Olivia and Grant proved that two souls, though from different worlds, could come together to create a masterpiece, not just in art or academia, but in life itself. As Olivia and Grant settled into their professional success, their personal lives became more complicated. Their schedules, packed with commitments, left them with little time for each other. While their bond remained strong, the distance between them seemed to grow with each passing day. Olivia's art was gaining international recognition, and she found herself traveling to showcase her work in different cities and galleries. Grant, on the other hand, was navigating the complexities of his new position as department chair, balancing administrative duties with his teaching responsibilities. One evening, as Olivia prepared for yet another solo exhibition, Grant surprised her with an unexpected message. He had been offered a prestigious role on an international board of art critics. The opportunity was monumental for his career, but it also meant more time apart. Olivia was proud of him, but as they discussed their future over the phone that night, a subtle tension lingered. "I can't help but feel like we're drifting," Olivia confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. Grant was silent for a moment, the weight of her words hanging in the air. "I know," he finally replied, "but maybe it's the price we have to pay for our dreams." Despite their commitment to their individual paths, both felt a growing sense of yearning for each other's presence. The distance began to affect not just their physical connection, but their emotional one as well. The long hours of work, the international calls, and the silent spaces between them seemed to build walls they hadn't anticipated. In the midst of this emotional strain, Olivia received an unexpected invitation to exhibit her work in a gallery in Venice. It was the opportunity of a lifetime, but it also meant leaving behind the life she had started to build in New York. She struggled with the decision, torn between her love for Grant and the pursuit of her artistic dreams. Grant, sensing her internal conflict, encouraged her to take the chance. "Your art needs this, Olivia. I need you to follow your passion," he said, his voice a mixture of pride and melancholy. In Venice, surrounded by the serene beauty of the canals and centuries-old architecture, Olivia immersed herself in her work. Yet, the city's romantic atmosphere only amplified her longing for Grant. She spent her days exploring the vibrant art scene and her nights alone in the quiet of her studio, creating pieces that reflected her inner turmoil. One evening, as she walked along the canal, she stumbled upon a small cafe where an old man played a melancholic tune on a violin. The music resonated with her in a way she couldn't explain. She felt as though the notes were speaking to the very essence of her relationship with Grant. The love, the passion, the sacrifice. In that moment, she realized that her art, like her relationship with him, was an evolving masterpiece, sometimes fragmented, but always beautiful in its own way. As Olivia's exhibition came to a close, she received a message from Grant, telling her he would visit her in Venice the following weekend. The news filled her with a sense of anticipation, but also uncertainty. Could they bridge the gap that had widened between them? When Grant arrived, the reunion was bittersweet. They spent the weekend together, revisiting the art galleries they had once dreamed of exploring side by side. Yet beneath the surface, there was an unspoken tension. They both knew the nature of their relationship had changed, and the path forward was uncertain. One evening, after a long day of sightseeing, they sat by the canal, sipping wine as the city buzzed around them. "Do you ever wonder if we're too different now?" Olivia asked, her eyes searching his. Grant sighed, looking out at the water. "Sometimes I think we're growing in different directions, but maybe that's what we need. For now, at least." Their conversation lingered in the air, neither of them quite ready to confront the inevitable changes they would need to make, but it was clear they had reached a crossroads. They could either continue on their individual journeys, finding fulfillment in their careers, or they could try to rebuild the connection that had once seemed unbreakable. After a few more months of long-distance communication and mutual support from afar, Olivia returned to New York to prepare for her next exhibition. But things were different now. She had learned to stand on her own, to find strength in her art, and to understand the complexities of love and independence. When she arrived at the gallery on opening night, she was surprised to see Grant waiting for her. He looked proud, but also weary, as if he had been carrying a burden he no longer wanted to bear alone. "I've been thinking," Grant began, his voice soft but firm, "about everything we've been through, about what we want next." Olivia felt a flutter of hope. "And what do you want?" "I want us to figure this out together. I want us to support each other, no matter where life takes us." In that moment, they both understood that love wasn't just about grand gestures or overcoming obstacles. It was about being there for each other through the small, quiet moments. As they stood there, surrounded by Olivia's artwork, they realized that they were ready to face whatever came next, together.